I've been thinking about why everything happens the way it does. Why are there struggles? Do we have problems, and how do we get through them? Just like a little seed is striving to grow, and it's reaching through the dirt for the light. And maybe it's like having a hard time going through the rocks and trying to find the sunlight. And then its roots are trying to reach down to get some nourishment, some water. And so it struggles, kind of like us. When we're a little baby, we are trying to make sense of it all. We are helpless. We're laying there, we can't get up. So what happens when you're a little baby and you can't get up? You cry out for help, and you rely on your external environment to help you. A little baby can't protect itself. What happens as we grow and we're starting to, crawl around and pick up things and put stuff in our mouth, and then we get told no? We are learning how to react for our safety. So how to get along, how to go along to get along. And the instinctive reactions that everybody has when something is scary or feels like danger is fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. And when we're little babies, we can't fight, and we can't flight, we can't run away because we're too little. So what do? We learn to make nice. We learn to fawn and go along to get along, and or we freeze. We just like take it all in and decide, I'll pretend I'm invisible so nobody notices me, and then I won't get in trouble. This is interesting because just like a little plant, we that learns to adapt, it's learning to grow and push its way, around the rocks, around the out of the dirt. A little plant wants to get away from the dirt, and it wants to be like able to reach the sun, but it can't get away from the dirt because the dirt is where its roots are that are holding it up, and also it's how it receives nourishment. So when we're little, we kind of need that dirt. We need the environment that we're in, even if it seems horrible. I when I was a little kid at school, I remember there was this fence, and a tree was growing right through the fence. It was as though this little tree that was planted so close to the fence on the inside of the playground, but it was pointing out against the fence, and it grew and grew and grew until this giant trunk of this tree was entirely through the fence and embedded. The fence was enmeshed into the actual tree of the trunk. So there would be no way that this tree could get away from its fence. And sometimes that's what happens with people. They grow up and you wonder, what the heck? Why are they like that? Well, it might be that they had to grow through a fence. They had to grow through innumerable painful experiences, and it left their mark. So what do we do if we want to, because we're not a plant. This is the good thing about our lives. We are not stuck. We are not trapped where we can't run like a plant can't run. We have a choice. We can. We can move away from the things that are painful and harmful to us. But we have to be able to take care of ourselves. So are we able to take care of ourselves? If we can't, then we might be just jumping from the frying pan into the fire and be in a worse situation. And I know a lot of kids, like they feel like running away because they think their life sucks. And it's a hard thing to learn to grow up and take care of yourself. And a lot of times, until we're able to do that, we're kind of in the situation of like that guy who his brother thought he was a chicken. And so he told his neighbor and said, my brother thinks he's a chicken. And so the guy says, why don't you take him to the psychologist? He says, well, we would, but we need the eggs. So a lot of us still need the eggs. And we're staying in this situation that seems crazy. It's been proven that if we hang around people who are negative, that it lowers our IQ. That's actually a fact. So we don't have to hang around people who are bringing us down. So what do? We are not powerless. Whatever we can control, we can control. So what can we control? Well, we can control our thoughts. Our thoughts are moving the molecules around us. That's a proven fact from quantum physics. So how can we move our thoughts to make our lives better? Easy. Whatever we pay attention to, notice consciously, and whatever we focus on intentionally will grow stronger in our lives. So, what do we want to grow stronger in our lives? Good things or bad things? If we want the good things in our lives to grow stronger and the bad things to go away, the easiest way is to start focusing our attention on the good things, whatever we can be grateful for. Like we have a body. People who are in the spirit and floating around up there, they don't have any way of affecting things in the world. And being in the world is like a double-edged sword because it's harder. But we can do things. We have arms and legs. We have a body that can move and create things and go places and do things. We're so much better off than a plant. And we can think. A lizard has a little tiny brain that can only run from danger or go after stuff aggressively to eat it. It's a fight or flight brain, and that's all it does. But we have the benefit of our frontal lobes, and our frontal lobes in our brain allow us to think, to plan, to see things analytically. And the problem a lot of people have is that they're so busy running from our fight and flight instinct, they can't stop and relax enough to actually think ahead. And it's been proven that when we're in a state of fight or flight, basically stress, it just shoots adrenaline through our body, and all the adrenaline pumps up our amygdala, which is the part of our brain that is responsible for the fight or flight response. As soon as that amygdala swells and gets full of this adrenaline, it cuts off the blood flow to the frontal lobes. So that's the reason why, if you want to be smarter, you have to relax. And relaxing meaning you have to allow your body to calm down and go into what they call parasympathetic phase. And the parasympathetic is when we can relax and feel safe. So if you can avoid stress, if there's toxic people in your life, try to stay away from them. And if you can't stay away from them all the time, try to limit your exposure. Take time to calm yourself down. And that's what meditation is so good for. And there's so many ways of meditating. So as we meditate and force ourselves to calm down, our body can go, ah. and then send the blood flow to the frontal lobes of our brain. And that's where our creativity can come from, and a lot of our insight. Our brain power goes down as our stress goes up. So, the other thing that I wanted to share with you is that how do you emphasize the good in your life when you feel that everything's kind of crappy? There was a book I read once, how to win friends and influence people, when I was a teenager, and the guy was trying had a goal to see if he could make people smile. He realized that if he could genuinely like something about them and tell them about it, that it would make them smile. So he was at a grocery store one day, standing in line, and the cashier looked very unhappy. What do I like about this guy? I've got to find something I like him. And so he looked and looked at the guy, and he eventually, oh, he has great hair. So when his turn came up to the cashier, he said to the guy, "You know, I couldn't help but notice what great hair you have." And the guy suddenly broke into this huge smile and said, "Well, thank you so much. I have felt very happy to have good hair." And so he got a smile out of the guy, and he was so happy. But it took him a while to find something he really liked about the guy. But if you try, you can find good things in everyone. And who is it who said, well, I guess it was Will Rogers who said, "I never met a man I didn't like." And why was that? Because he wanted to see what was good in people. When you can master that ability to find at least one good thing that you like about each person you meet, then you'll be at an advantage. Why? Because people like us when we like them. Mhm. We like people who like us. How can we make people like us when we like them? But we can't be insincere. We can't be phonies. Being a mother, since I had 7 kids, and I always wanted kids, I love kids. I always now see people as the little baby that they once were. And how can you not love a little baby? When I look at people and remember that they were once a little baby, I'm never afraid of them. Because I think a lot of us live in a state of fear because we feel always on the defensive. And so what can we do about that? We can be on the offensive, the opposite of being on the defensive. We can be out there. How? Projecting a love for all. And if you can't find something specifically lovable about a person, then just remember that we are all have a spark within us of that divine life. Who was, let's see, it was Leo Tolstoy who said, "The most important thing, and a difficult one, is to love life, for life is God. And to love life is to love God." We can love the God part of another person, even if we're having to ignore everything. But remember that they have a spark inside them, which is called life. And that life is God. And you know what? They're on their journey, whatever it is. And if we don't feel safe around somebody, we have arms and legs, and we can walk away. When we want to change our environment, what can we do? We can change our thoughts, first of all. We can change what we're thinking about, because whatever we think about grows stronger in our life. How can we control our thoughts? Well, one of the best ways is turn off the TV. Now, what are they doing on TV? Well, most of TV is people trying to get you to pay attention to them. buy this, do that, look at how wonderful I am. And then the more you look at them, the more you're sucked out of whatever it is, attention, power you have. You're being disempowered. So if you want to keep your power and grow, concentrate on what is good. Find what you could be grateful for. Make a long list of it if you have to, and then read it every day. And well, we have so many things to be grateful for. We live better than the kings and queens of old. We have running water. They didn't. We have toilets. They didn't. I wouldn't want to live there even if I was a king. We have lawnmowers. Um, we have all kinds of stuff. We have refrigerators. We have computers. We have things that can help us do more and be more creative. So, just like Ralph Waldo Emerson said, make the most of yourself, for that is all there is of you. We're in charge of whatever we decide we want to do in our lives. What do you want to be? It's your choice.
Love is all you need. True love, can you see it? Love is all you need.